I've made a copy of ODB40 and I've made some changes to some of the tables. So if you want to work along with me on this one, you may want to download the new ODB41 before database that I'll put out on the website. And this is a copy of that database, and it is called ODB41 SQL Join Part 2. You may have noticed that in the Join Queries Part 1, I did not include the phone number table. Let's do that right now and see what happens. I'm going back into Queries, and I'm going to open up this Join alias. I'm going to delete the group table, and I'm going to add the phone number table. And we see that it brought in our relationship as a join connection. I'm going to add in the phone number and the description. Let's run this query. When we run this query, we notice that we get all the same information for the employee and the department 3 times, once for each different phone number. And that happens for all of our employees. The employee information and department information is the same on every record for each different phone number. This type of query does not work well for the LibreOffice forms, and that's why we use the subform for the phone number information. We may use this type of query when we get to the reporting feature of LibreOffice Base, but we won't be using a query like this for any of our LibreOffice forms. I just wanted to make you aware of how a query like this works. Going to close this and not save it. I mentioned that I made some changes to some of the tables. We're going to take a look at them right now. On the employees table, I made some of the departments null values. Remember we said if there's a department assigned, it must be on the department table, but we also said this field could be null. I've made 3 departments null, and we'll also note that we have 27 records on this table. Going back into our queries, now let's edit our department and group query. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to delete off the group, and I'm going to save this as ODB41 Employee Department. Let's run this query. And we see we only have 24 records in our results set. What happened to the other 3 records? I'm going to hit F4 and hide the result set. And I'm going to click on our join connection, right-clicking, edit. Under the options, we have this type of inner join, which means it will pick up all the records that have a department ID on the employee table that matches a department ID on the department table. It can't join the 3 records with nulls in the department ID. So those are the missing records. I've got a picture here to help illustrate the point. We've got our employees table here on the left and our department table here on the right, and our inner join will select only the records that can match up the department ID on both tables. I will point out that this picture is not to scale, meaning inside the center here, there are 24 records that have a matching department ID, and this area right here on the left, which is larger, only has 3 records, the 3 that I changed the department ID to null. To select all the employee records on the employee table, whether they have a department ID or not, we'll want to select this entire circle here. And this is called a left outer join, where our first join was just called an inner join. Now let's change this type to a left join. And down in our comment here, it says contains all the records from the employees table, but only the records from the table department where the values in the related fields are matching. That's what we want. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to save this as ODB41 left join EMP DPT. And let's run this query. Here we see we get all 27 records. One of them, number 9, has got the null. Another one, 14. And 28. So there's our left join. I'm going to hit F4. And now I'm going to change this to the right join. Click OK. File, save as. Right join EMP DPT. Let's run this. And again, we get 27 records. But it's a little different this time. Our first row has the unassigned with no records assigned to it. And if we go down to the bottom, we notice we have 2 more departments. Those were 2 more that I added to the department table. And we do not have any employees assigned to them yet. Hitting F4 to close this again. If I right-click and edit this line again, there was one more option in here. It says cross-join. Our first thought is this should bring in the left and the right join. When I select this, down in the comments, it says contains the Cartesian product of all records from the table employees and from the table department. Let's run this and see what it gets. And here we see for the first record, it assigns this first record to every department on the table. Then it does the same for the second person. So that mixes every record on the one table to every record on the other table. This is definitely not what we wanted. There are ways to get both the left and right outer joins in a single query. But for the HSQL database, those queries are going a little beyond the scope of this tutorial. The idea of this tutorial is to show how to join 2 tables and to give the basics of the left and right outer joins. There are some really talented people in the LibreOffice Base forums that can help you create more difficult SQL queries. You just need to be able to explain to them briefly what you have in your tables and what you're trying to do with it.